Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. My name is Reuben, joined here today with Aaron, and we are back to review Invincible, Season 3, Episode 6. All I can say is, I'm sorry. And before we get into today's episode, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts, across all podcasting platforms. And if you're craving more Nerd Soup, go ahead and visit our Patreon page, where we upload reviews and solo pods, group pods. We actually just did the latest arc of One Piece. Well, I didn't do it. It was Aaron and Cam. And on the last Invincible review, Cam seemed to, people seemed to like him. Did a pretty good job. So if you want more Cam, you can only find him on the Patreon. Cam's a Patreon exclusive, which he's always wanted to be since he was a little boy. So congrats, Cam. And follow us on social medias at Nerd Soup, at Beau Soup, at Nerd Soup Monkey. Aaron, how was your break? We mentioned that you got into a little scuffle, but it seems like you're doing fine.
Yeah, I guess. What scuffle? There's just so many that it's hard to pinpoint.
Oh man, that boy's throwing bows, throwing knees. No, we like tied it into Invincible that you got beat up because everybody gets, beat up in the show. We said that somebody was doing some magic voodoo to put their soul back in you, resurrect you, bring you back to life.
Forgot about that.
Little Scooby-Doo action.
Yeah, that happened. It was crazy, man. I was like, what?
What did you see? Did you see anything on the other side?
No, just darkness.
All right, well, let's get into today's episode, episode 6. All I can say is I'm sorry. I really thought we were going to get the Omni-Man reunion in this episode. And now I'm wondering if that's going to happen, if Omni-Man makes his way back to Earth. Feeling like that could be a nice cliffhanger for the end of this season. But I just mentioned to you before we started recording, I can kind of see why people are getting a bit frustrated with this season, especially with Mark's character. I think the family stuff is always good in Invincible, and some of the best scenes in this episode were just between Mark and Oliver talking about Omni-Man and the way that people feel about him and how difficult it is for Mark to explain to Oliver how other people feel, because Cam made a good point on the last episode. Mark is still a kid, and I think you made that point as well. So it gets to a point where, I don't think he's really thought about, the right way to address what Omni-Man did, or how that redemption would even work. It's a very complicated and difficult question. So I thought those scenes were really strong. I like the dinner scenes with Paul trying to ingratiate himself with the family. I'm interested to hear what you thought about Aaron Paul as Powerplex, because it's a story we've seen a million times where collateral damage drives somebody to go off of the deep end. They want revenge no matter what. They don't really care about the truth anymore. And he does make some good points about the way that these heroes are, they're able to get the benefit of the doubt from those in charge because Mark was defending Earth. It's an interesting question that other superhero stories have tackled. How do you deal with the collateral damage and the impact and the destruction and the devastation? Who is supposed to answer for that? But I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on Aaron Paul's performance here. It feels like he's got one go-to and he goes to it a lot. And good voice for cartoons, but I don't know. What did you think about the performance and the episode overall?
The thing about Aaron Paul is he's gonna start screaming.
He likes to scream, yeah, and he does the like a lot of angst. It's like he's struggling to get the words out.
Yeah, I think it was okay, but I wish they didn't take the approach they did with Powerplex. Like, they kind of made it a joke at times, where I think that could have been a really cool moment for it to get super serious for a minute, because it is a serious situation. But even with the Invincible with the title screens, it was funny, but like in that moment with that character, like him rehearsing in his house beforehand, I think they should have kept that all like pretty super serious. And I know it's a show that does goof around at times, but I feel like that could have been a cool like change up to what we usually get.
I like the first time they did it. When they kept doing it, I'm like, hey, you're kind of cutting into his monologue.
Yeah, this man's been going through hell.
And kind of let him give the performance. I thought it was funny the first one, and then maybe just do the last one.
But yeah, like I wish they would have took that a little bit more seriously, carry some more weight with what he was going through, because it didn't really have that much of an impact when I look back on that episode.
Yeah, and I think when you get to the end and what happens where he accidentally burns his family, alive. That was freaky too, that when Mark's trying to save his wife and kid, she spits on him and says, we're in this together. So it's not just him, it's collectively as a unit. They've lost their minds because of what happens. And like I said, it's understandable, but he does take it too far. And that was horrific. And I think the point that they keep making for Mark is that, and it's a Superman dilemma. Do you hang out with your friends or do you go and try and save the day? Mark thinks there are other heroes out there. This shouldn't get too out of hand. He doesn't look so powerful.
He did that shit in front of Amber too. It's like that's why we broke up, is because you would just leave and save the world. Now you're taking nights off?
Oh, since you're with Eve. Oh, okay. I see how it is.
Okay, yeah.
That was cute, the interaction between the two of them. And I like the approach that they've taken with Amber and Mark and Eve. They hit it off right away. Two guys who read the same comic, friends for life. They're probably closer than Amber is with him at this point. That's his buddy. Just got bumped up to the favorites contact. Don't even have his number. But that is a funny point, dude. Just Amber being like, oh, well, fine, whatever. I guess you really like bowling. Guess we should have went bowling more. Fucking prick. Yeah, but then him, he keeps putting it off. He lets these other heroes handle it. Eve is able to subdue him, but eventually he escapes, and he's holding an innocent person hostage. So that's a way to get Invincible to answer your call. And they keep going back to Mark on the roof, and this time he just had nothing to say. Where after something devastating happens, he witnesses this tragedy, and he gets to confide in Eve. But it's been so much up until this point that he's just left speechless. And the post-credit scene, talk about just when it rains, it pours. It's been such a bad season for Mark when it comes to being a superhero. And now he's got to fight other alternate evil versions of himself. But I do wonder how many times is Mark going to learn the same lessons? And I get that they're playing with the whole, the tropes of superheroism and trying to break those tropes, because he keeps trying to Naruto this man. When they first have that conversation in the abandoned building and he's explaining to him about how he still remembers his sister and niece. That doesn't work. And then at the end, talking about, at first it didn't really bother me, but now it does. And he's just like, that pissed me off even more. I'm going to take revenge. So subverting those tropes of it's not going to be a simple conversation of explaining that you're understanding, that you're compassionate, that you're empathetic, that people can just reach a breaking point and there is no chance of redemption, which is sad. And also, dealing with the limitations of power in the sense of going up against a villain who, no matter how many times you punch him, he's just going to get stronger. So you can't punch your way out of this. You can't talk your way out of this. The lesson is sometimes there is no winning, no matter how strong you are or how deeply you care. But as I said, how many times are we going to learn the same lesson in a different way, even though that moment watching it was shocking and devastating? Especially, Mark's, he's just a kid. He's just 19. And I think to witness a mother and their child be burned alive that way is horrific. And it could really break you. But yeah, I found the episode overall to just kind of be another solid installment in preparation of something that plans to be really big and epic. And I don't know if they're biding their time, but it's starting to feel that way for me.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a trap where I feel like the post-credit sequence is always better than what we actually get.
Yeah.
Now it's going to start heating up. It's like, well, here's Powerplex.
Yeah, here's Powerplex. And I did suggest this on the last review that they're setting up all these villains to eventually recruit them to fight the Viltrumites. I don't know if he's going to get the call. He just seems like he's insane at this point.
Yeah, and you can see why he's insane. I mean, Mark really didn't have anything to do with it. I guess it was more Omni-Man, but when that happens to you and you have no answers and it seems like nobody cares, you can see where that character's coming from. And I think with Mark, it's like you said, he is just a kid, but I don't want to say we keep getting the same thing, but it's like you said, he's keep learning the same lessons. And it's something where you go back to his confrontations with Cecil. I feel like he's just trying to dip his toe into every little point of view where it ends up becoming either hypocritical or at a certain point you gotta find your identity and stand by it, because it's you get angry with Cecil about wanting to rehabilitate the criminals, but then you still even this episode's another reminder of what your father did, yet you still think there's good in him. It's pick a side, buddy.
No, that is a great point, that eventually you need to believe in something, and that needs to inspire not every choice you make, but most of them, because he is kind of just playing it like by ear, seeing that news report and not responding to the call. It's difficult, obviously, to be in those shoes. And that's why I like the Superman character, because it's those difficult choices that you have to make, not just life or death, but on a personal level. Do I want to maintain and cultivate these relationships? Do I want to be a normal kid, or do I answer the call? And they're also dealing with just because he's invincible, because he can break into the Pentagon and not face any repercussions, doesn't mean that you're infallible and that every decision you make is going to be the right one. And he's also trying to teach Oliver that. It's not about because you're stronger than the elephant. It's about how you fight him, keeping the fight away from the restaurant, making sure that there are no people in the surrounding areas. And, you know, another thing that the show does great is showing us when a character as powerful as Mark lands a punch or crashes into a building, just the pure impact of that is going to blow a normal person away. So I always kind of enjoy the way that they use powers and that they follow the physics of a real world, even though obviously it's still very fantastical. But the family stuff, as I mentioned when I opened the review, is always good between Mark, now Oliver, Debbie, and the way Eve, I found that to be cute, that Oliver doesn't listen to Mark, but Eve says the same thing, and you got it, Eve. When it's, you know, your older brother's cute girlfriend, you're going to listen to whatever she says. Oliver's got game already. And yeah, the conversation that they have about Nolan was probably the best scene of the episode, maybe the best scene between them so far. Mark does run out of answers there in the end. And we also get the information about Oliver being able to recall those memories. And I'm fully bought in on Nolan's redemption.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen, but I just wonder, you know, what's Mark's feelings going to be about it? Cecil and the rest of the world. You know, it's easy to forgive somebody when it's your family, but even if he saves the world from a Viltrumite invasion, is everybody just going to be like, okay, you're back into our good graces, or is there going to be many other people like Powerplex that still hold a grudge against them?
He's going to have to die trying.
Yeah.
Sacrifice himself, and that's how he gets a statue. If he beats back the Viltrumites and is still living, he's not getting a statue. I think he gets a handshake. You know, thank you. But I always think of the Stannis quote. I don't know it exactly, but bad deeds doesn't take away from the good. I just totally fucked it up. But I always think about that. And, that's the argument that Oliver is making, seeing it from the perspective of a child, just knowing how his dad treated him and took care of him and watched over him. And Mark saying that dad was two different people. He was the father we knew, but also this man on a mission. And even saying that he saved more people than he's killed, but you can't really, you can't have a contract on lives. One life isn't equal to another. So all of that stuff, just the back and forth there, especially when it's your father, it's so difficult to have to face that reality. So you totally understand it from Oliver's perspective, especially since he only knew the Omni-Man that we saw on that alien planet. Just a good dude, the Omni-Man that Mark had for most of his life.
Well, I thought something bad was going to happen to Oliver. I thought he was going to show up to his fight with Powerplex and he was going to see the Omni-Man suit and be like, I don't fuck with that.
Oliver's he's running around like Kanye West.
Yeah, straight up.
I mean, the memorial was it's not funny, but I think it is funny how real it felt. Just reminded me of the 9/11 memorial. And that really was a 9/11 type of tragedy where all thousands of people died. And Mark, even looking at the names, it really sets in. It's one thing to experience it and, repress the trauma. Obviously, he still remembers what happened, but to really get down to the loss of life and the individual loss of life, how it impacted not just, the person who tragically died, but their families as well, and how so many people are still carrying that pain. And when Oliver says, do all these people here hate Dad? It looked like Mark was going to respond with, this isn't about Dad. Obviously, there's still a lot of hatred for Omni-Man, but in this moment, it's about remembering the people that they lost. It's going to take time, I think, for Oliver as he grows up to accept that, and he might never accept that. And for Mark, it's a bit of the opposite, where he's still going to have some reservations about his father because he was there and he experienced it up close and personal. And even when Powerplex was rewinding the tape of how helpless Invincible was in that moment when Omni-Man's got him by the hair. I feel like even seeing that, he was just so blinded by his rage that he couldn't even accept that Mark was also a victim. But I got a kick out of how real and authentic the memorial felt.
Sir, second Viltrumite has entered the subway system.
No, whoever was president at that time was just like, whatever Cecil thinks.
And some of the side stories there. I like the Monster Girl and Rudy. It's sweet. Fresh belt.
Yeah, the
too.
Guardians. Yeah, no, the belt's cool. I always love a cool belt.
I would still take it off every now and then, if I'm getting too old. Like if I'm like,
she takes it off whenever she hits like 30.
yeah, just like chill in that area for the rest of my life. I'm cool with that.
It is funny, and it's cute the way that Rudy still doesn't quite understand the way humans think and operate. He still struggles to grasp human emotion. He loves Monster Girl, and he's doing this for her. But as soon as it works, she's so overwhelmed that she begins to cry. And he's saying, listen, if you don't want to use this, if I'm going too far, it's totally fine by me. But, for Monster Girl, for a long time, she didn't want to ever think that it could be a possibility. She didn't want to be let down. And then when it finally happens, just the overwhelming emotions that she feels, it is very sweet between those characters. I do feel like Cam made this point on the last episode that we haven't gotten much of the Guardians, that these scenes sprinkled throughout, they're good, but nothing really substantial. And I guess it's something that's been a long time coming. Rudy has been working towards this. Now he has it. Monster Girl gets to be, she gets to age normally, like everybody else. But even Ray and Rex, those scenes are fine.
I'm good on that, yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You can take it away.
No, I'm just good on that.
Oh, that's what you said? I thought you said I'll get on that. Like you were fucking rolling up your sleeves. Like,
yeah.
Listen here, Mr. Splode.
Yeah, break down the Rex Explode and Ray scenes like a fucking Alt-Shift X.
Well, it's just like we know Rex. I think Rex at this point, they've done a good job with his arc to where he started to where he is now. But a character like Ray, I just don't really know her enough to get so invested in her decision to turn away. Obviously, what happened to her was horrific. Now she's back, and she doesn't want to do this anymore. Totally understandable. For them to really emphasize this moment as Rex has nothing but his identity as a superhero, Ray wants to live a normal life. They're at the crossroads. Even though they're falling in love, they find their paths diverging. Just kind of feels cliche. And if you're going to go the route of a cliche love story, you really have to know those characters. And I don't quite think I know Ray. Or, I hate when people say this, but I just don't care. I'm like, where's Omni-Man?
Yeah.
Where's Cecil? What's Cecil doing? Give me Cecil's love life.
Yeah, we didn't get much Cecil. I don't think we got any Cecil this episode.
He's on the thumbnail for the next one, and he looks like he's been battered and bruised, so.
Yeah, he always looks like that, though.
Yo, I fucking love Walton Goggins, man. Doubling up on the Goggins content?
Yeah, it is pretty sweet. When's the last time Cecil's had fun, you think? Like, he just had a great time.
I bet if you put him on a lie detector test, watching Omni-Man wreck shop and trying to stop him was probably a blast. Totally horrific. I think that he was probably like, let's fucking go. Like, here it is. I've been waiting for this. And then he just fails miserably. You think he fucks?
Flags. Probably not. I don't think he's had a day off.
Yeah, he's not fucking on the job. What about Donald? Do you think Donald definitely doesn't fuck?
Maybe they should just fuck each other. 2 birds with 1 stone.
2 birds with 1 stone. I don't know if that applies, but I like the metaphor of smashing.
Nah, I feel like Donald can lay it down.
Oh, yeah? No, I appreciated the little olive branch there. I think that's a good go-between for Mark and Cecil. Let Donald handle Invincible.
Yeah, I think he's more level-headed and maybe not as stubborn as either one of them. So I think he's, especially all that's happened with him, he might have a new outlook on things. And I think he's still a ride or die, but he's also willing to, like you said, extend an olive branch out to Invincible and kind of ease that relationship in some ways.
These superheroes, man, when Shapesmith gets the call to stop Powerplex, they're always so cocky. Ben Schwartz, really good voice actor. I think he's so funny as Sonic, and I thought he was funny here too. It made me laugh when the cop was like, Powerplex just killed one of the Guardians. And I thought, man, maybe he is dead.
Shapesmith. My name is Shapesmith.
But even Mark getting shot by all that electricity, I thought that might kill him. But what did you think about the end credits? Are you excited for that? No, a lot of people seem to just be tired of the multiverse, like, oh, more evil Marks. But just knowing how powerful and how dangerous he could be, and these other Marks might not hold back, this might be the most scared I've been going into an episode. Like, what the fuck are they going to do?
Well, I like the Omni-Man Marks. The Omni-Man
That
Mark.
was cool. Yeah.
I don't know. You need fucking Omni-Man, right? Mark's not taking any of them by themselves. None of the Guardians can fucking do anything against Mark. So he's going to need everybody. He's going to need Alan, even Oliver, probably.
Dude, that would actually be... If episode 7 starts...
Or Battle Beast.
I mean, I would love that. But I think episode 7 could start like the first half is normal, everyday Invincible stuff. And then the army of Marks are unleashed in the second half of the episode. And they just fucking destroy these guys. Like Mark and Oliver are getting their asses fucking beat. And then you get the Omni-Man Alan come and save the day. And then you leave it on the cliffhanger of, okay, Omni-Man's back. He helped us, but now what? So
Omni-Man's going to love that, beating the shit out of 20 Marks.
It's like, this is my fucking favorite pastime. This is what I was born to do.
I hope we get a Scooby-Doo situation.
Oh, yeah. Spider-Man meme, too.
Which Mark is Mark?
Yeah, what's the real
It's
Mark?
me, can't you tell? He's the bad one. Get him. No, it's me. I'm the real Mark.
Omni-Man's like, I'm just going to have to kill both of you. What's another 17 more years? Can always start again with twins. I was rewatching that fight between Omni-Man and Mark. Talk about an incredible fucking sequence, dude. From beginning to end, that final line of, I'll still have you, Dad, and Omni-Man's like, God damn it. Why'd you have to say that?
Why'd you have to be such a fucking pussy, dude?
You're just like your mother. You're gonna make me cry. But I'm officially coming around on Oliver. I think he's a good kid. Probably judged him a bit too harshly. But
I mean,
that was still terrifying.
Acting out.
Yeah, no, he was...
I feel like Oliver's has got to die soon. I don't want him to.
Yeah, I do wonder if... No, I don't want him to either. But he does seem like a character who's ripe for a tragic death, you know?
None of this bullshit. Cecil puts him back together. Dead, in the ground, 6 feet.
No, obliterated. Like into pieces. If Cecil can do that, like fucking Monsters, Inc., putting that door... I don't know how Mike Wazowski put that door back together. But,
hard work and dedication, brother.
Yeah, that elbow grease, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about Wazowski, but he put in that work. Not the paperwork, though. And funny bit, too, with them carrying the car. That'd be nice. I wonder if Debbie got the ick. Like, oh, look, Paul's all scared because we're in a flying car.
You gotta let people be scared sometimes, you know? Can't all be...
Your fear-mongering.
Can't just be tough all the time. Shit's scary out there.
You know, yeah, no, I like that.
You got spiders, the dark, heights, a lot of scary shit out there.
World War V.
Yeah.
That's big time. All right, guys, that is where we go in. All right. Wow.
Leave that in. Let the people know.
We're not perfect. That humanizes me more. All right, guys, that's where we're going to leave this episode for today. We will be back next week for Invincible Season 3, Episode 7. Looking forward to that. Angstrom's back. Yeah, that's confirmed. Big ass head. Looking like Mojo Jojo. That's who they need. If they want to fight a bunch of Marks, you bring in the Powerpuff Girls.
They'll never
Easy
not
work.
make me laugh when they show his broken body after the Powerpuff Girls just fucking wreck shop on his ass. They beat the fucking brakes off that man. They would do him like Omni-Man did Mark, but on the weekly.